Greetings, Earth stars. Eliane Nicole here, your astrologer and tarot reader. And I haven't done a video in a really long time, but I thought today I would try out IGTV for the first time and do a full Moon of Aquarius video. So right now I'm going to talk about the full Moon of Aquarius that emerges exact at 7:36 p.m. Friday, July 23rd. It's going to be at 1 degree 26 minutes Aquarius, so that's about 2 degrees Aquarius. And this full moon, well, all full moons bring illumination and culmination. And the Aquarius full moon usually brings that around Aquarian themes. And Aquarian themes include everything from progress, humanitarian ideals, concepts, science, ideas, inventions, Aquarian age things like space travel and technology and television, innovation, all of those kinds of things are very Aquarian. And so those types of topics could be highlighted under this full moon. And Aquarius, in general, will always, under any Aquarian full moon, bring those themes. But what I'm going to talk about now is the aspects that this particular Aquarius full moon is making to the other planets, which is very unique to the Aquarius full moon of 2021. And by the way, we will be this year having 2 Aquarius full moons, which is rare. And the second Aquarius full moon, I believe, will be a time for second chances around the things happening under this full moon. So it's important to be mindful of this time and to pay attention to what's going on, because anywhere where you feel like you've made a mistake or where you've handled things wrong, you may have an opportunity to correct or fix at the second Aquarius full moon that's coming next month. But for now, in this video, I'm going to continue to talk about this cycle, which is this weekend, Friday the 23rd through Sunday the 25th. And this is a culmination possibly of some things that happened a couple of weeks ago, some things that happened 6 months ago, some things that happened a year ago, some things that happened 2.5 years ago. And you really have to look to the house Aquariuses in your chart to understand this on a more specific level. For me, it's in the 9th house. The 9th house is the house of God and philosophy and spirituality. But it's also the house of broadcasting and publishing, which is very applicable for me right now. But you have to look at the house that Aquarius rules in your chart, and that depends on what your rising sign is. But in the meantime, I'm going to talk about the things that the collective will experience with this full moon. The first aspect that the full moon makes, well, obviously, because it's a full moon, it's opposing the Leo sun. So the Aquarius Leo axis is being stimulated, and Aquarian energy is more reserved and airy and intellectual, whereas Leo energy is more childlike and playful. And Leo wants to be in the spotlight. Aquarius wants to blend in with the crowd a little bit more. And so there's an interplay between these two energies going on this weekend. The Leo energy of, look at me, I want to be in the spotlight, versus the Aquarius energy of maybe, just being a little colder, a little bit more distant, a little bit more aloof. Leo is ruled by the sun, and so it's this very exuberant, extroverted, outgoing energy. And Aquarius is ruled by Saturn, which is a much more structured, kind of disciplined, can be an aloof energy. And so, but they can stimulate each other too. And there's a lot of opportunity for creative energy there. And so that's part of what's going on at the full moon. But the moon also, you know, during this full moon cycle will trine the North Node in Gemini. And this is a harmonious flow of inflow of energy of information happening. The North Node is in the sign of Gemini. So this is all about having an opened mind and being willing to receive the good news of the information. This could be information coming from, you know, conversations, emails, texts, letters. It could also be information coming from the other side. It could come from your dreams. It could come from storytelling. And so pay attention to what you learn and what you hear, because this is information that is about your path in life, your direction, your higher purpose. In some cases, this is information that could lead to success in some way for you, or material gain in some way. So pay attention during this full moon cycle to what comes in. And also this full moon is going to conjunct Saturn. This is very good for making long range plans and goals. This is, when I say long range plans, this could be good for planning for old age, planning for retirement, but it can also be long range goals in terms of, the next 2.5 years, the next 5 years, the next 7 years, the next 10 years. It's looking ahead into the future. And it's important because it's related to the great conjunction that happened December 21st, 2020, where we all started a new 20-year chapter in our lives in whatever house Aquarius rules in our chart. So Aquarian energy is very important for all of us right now, because we've entered this new Aquarian era, and we are just kind of learning, the Aquarian era is an airy era, and we're just learning how to fly, especially the air signs may be flying a little easier than some of the other signs, but, this is illuminating how far we've come in terms of what we're working towards in this new chapter of our life, but also how far we have to go. And so, this is kind of like a checkpoint for that in a way. And what else? The full moon of Aquarius is also going to form a sextile with Chiron. So last week, July 15th, Chiron stationed retrograde in Aries, and Chiron will be going retrograde in Aries until December. And but at the beginning of the station, it's really staying still. And for almost 3 months of this retrograde, it's going to be almost on the same spot in Aries. So it's really drilling down at this very specific point that if you have any planets at 13 degrees in your chart, 12, 13 degrees, you're going to really feel it the strongest. But everyone is going to feel it to some extent, because for the collective, obviously, there's a lot of healing that needs to take place. There was a lot of wreckage caused in 2020 by the pandemic. And for some people, that healing has to do with, literal physical healing. But for some people, it's financial healing. For some people, their business is recovering. For other people, it might be friendships or relationships that are recovering. You really have to look at where Chiron is in your chart to see which wound is being focused on for you. But this full moon actually brings good news. I think it stimulates us to maybe think out of the box and think of alternative, unique approaches to healing, which I think is great and very Aquarian too. And so maybe it's a good time to consult an astrologer or a Reiki master or an energy worker to address some of your issues, aside from doing the standard traditional Saturnian modes, right? There's an interplay there. And what I also want to say about the Chiron energy is, well, I'm not going to go into too much detail about that. You can call me for a reading if you're more interested in that. The full moon will also square Uranus. This has real surprise energy, shake-up energy, plot twist energy, and again, it will be the houses that Aquarius and Taurus rule in your chart to see the area where you might get a surprise or a plot twist at the full moon. You can expect the unexpected when the moon and Uranus are together. And then finally, the last aspect that the full moon will be making on its way out is the opposition to Mars. And this is a volatile energy. The moon is very emotional. Mars is very fiery. Aquarius and Leo energy, they're both stubborn in different ways. Leo is fixed fire. Aquarius is fixed air. And so this standoff between the moon and Mars could be as, two people arguing with each other. It can be one person who's wanting, the Mars energy is very passionate, wants to move fast, is very driven. The Saturnian energy is more reserved, it's more controlled, it wants to say no, it wants to slow things down. And so Mars wants to fight about that because Mars and Leo wants its way. This is happening at the 27th degree of, Aquarius and Leo. So it could be a standoff, or it could be a fight. Or it could just be that somehow you're stopped or limited or restricted from being able to do what you want to do. And that could be on the most mundane level. It could be like, the trash truck blocking your car from being able to get out of the driveway, or, but it could also be someone, declining your loan for your new car, or anything along the spectrum. It's the archetypes are kind of, they run the scale. But in any case, no matter what, we know that full moons, they bring illumination, they bring culmination, they bring light to things, they complete cycles, and so enjoy this full moon of Aquarius. This is my first time doing an IGTV video, so thank you for joining me. And I hadn't done a video in a long time. I hope you got something from this video, and maybe I will do some more often in this format. Let me know what you thought. Thank you. Happy full moon in Aquarius.